The night shift, when the world sleeps, and a select few remain awake, watching empty hallways, monitoring silent buildings, serving the occasional customer who appears out of nowhere. But what happens when the veil between our world and something else thins? Tonight I bring you 3 accounts from those who worked when everyone else slept. 3 individuals who experienced something that defies explanation. 3 stories that security cameras captured, and then somehow didn't. What you're about to hear comes from those who lived it. People just like you who punched in for a normal night's work, and punched out with their reality shattered. These aren't campfire tales or internet fiction. These are the experiences that made night workers quit their jobs, question their sanity, and never again feel comfortable in the dark. Before we begin, I need to warn you, after hearing these accounts you might find yourself looking over your shoulder during your next late shift. You might start noticing things in the corner of your eye. You might begin to wonder if that sound you just heard was really just the building settling. Let's begin. Our first account comes from a security guard at a large distribution warehouse, a place of towering shelves, endless corridors, and the kind of silence that seems to have weight. I'd been working security at this distribution center for about 8 months. Nothing exciting ever happened. Just me, walking the floor every hour, checking doors, making sure nothing was out of place. The night shift paid better, and I needed the money. The warehouse was massive, rows of shelves stretching up 30 feet, forklifts parked like sleeping beasts. During the day, it was a hive of activity. At night it was just empty. The kind of empty that makes normal sounds echo strangely. My routine was simple: walk the floor, check the break room, check the loading docks, repeat. The company was paranoid about theft, so we had cameras everywhere. My partner Dave would stay in the control room, monitoring the feeds while I did the rounds. It was around 3:12 a.m. when I first heard it, a knocking sound, slow, deliberate. 3 distinct knocks, coming from the direction of the break room. I radioed Dave. "Did you hear that?" "Hear what?" he replied. I told him I was going to check it out. The break room was empty, as expected. The sound seemed to be coming from the walk-in freezer. You know, one of those industrial ones with the heavy metal door. There it was again, knocking from inside the freezer. I hesitated. Nobody should be in there. I had checked it during my last round, and it was empty. I approached slowly, my flashlight beam reflecting off the metal door. The knocking came again, 3 times. I took a deep breath and pulled the door open. Nothing. Just frozen air and cold silence. Empty shelves. No one hiding behind boxes. Nothing. I shut the door, shrugged it off, and turned to leave. The knocking came again, 3 times, from inside the freezer. But I had just checked, and there was nothing there. The door was shut tight. My heart started racing. I radioed Dave again. No response this time, just static. I opened the freezer door again, still empty. I left it open this time, thinking maybe it was some kind of pressure issue making the noise. I backed away, watching the open freezer door, and then, the knocking came again, from inside the empty freezer, with the door wide open. I didn't stick around. I ran upstairs to the control room to find Dave, but when I got there something was wrong. All the security monitors were showing static, all except one, the break room camera. It was still working. And what I saw on that screen, it showed me, standing in the break room. But I wasn't alone. Behind me was something, a pale figure, tall, barefoot. Its hand was raised toward the camera, knocking. 3 times. I spun around. Nothing there. Just me and Dave, in the control room. Dave hadn't seen anything on the monitors. He said they'd been working fine all night. I quit the next morning. When I asked to see the footage from that night, they told me there had been a system malfunction. All recordings from my shift had been corrupted, lost. They told me I must have imagined it. Fatigue, they said, stress. But I know what I saw, and sometimes, even now, years later, I hear it. 3 knocks, when I'm alone, when it's quiet, when it's dark. Our second account takes us to a place many of us have visited late at night, a 24-hour gas station. Sitting alone on a highway, a single island of light in the darkness. For one attendant, A strange customer's warning became the beginning of a nightmare. I worked the graveyard shift at a 24-hour gas station, just off Highway 9. Most nights were dead quiet, just me, stocking shelves, cleaning, occasionally serving a trucker, or insomniac passing through. The station was pretty isolated, nothing around for miles except woods. The manager said it was a strategic location, but really it was just in the middle of nowhere. That night, I'll never forget it. It was 2:44 a.m. exactly. I remember because I checked the time right after it happened. The bell above the door jingled, and this man walked in. Something was off about him from the start. He was soaking wet, like he'd been swimming, but it wasn't raining. Barefoot, too. Pale skin, dark hair plastered to his head. He didn't say a word, just walked straight to the refrigerator, took out a single bottle of water, and placed a $20 bill on the counter. I rang it up, gave him his change. He just stood there, staring at me, not blinking. Then he leaned in slightly, and said, "Don't go outside when the humming starts." Before I could ask what he meant, he turned and left. I stepped out from behind the counter to see where he went, but the parking lot was empty. No car, no footprints, even though the ground was muddy from earlier rain. It was like he'd vanished. That's when I heard it. A low electrical hum coming from the woods behind the station. At first I thought maybe it was a transformer or something, but it didn't sound mechanical. It sounded wrong. The hum got louder. The fluorescent lights in the station began to flicker, then went out completely. The refrigerator stopped. The computer at the register died. Even my phone went dead. Full battery 1 second, completely lifeless the next. I locked the doors and ducked behind the counter, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The humming kept growing louder, almost vibrating the floor. It wasn't just a sound anymore. It was something I could feel in my teeth, like standing too close to a massive generator. I peeked over the counter and looked through the front window. That's when I saw it. A figure standing at the edge of the woods, tall, maybe 6 feet. It looked like a man, dressed in something loose, almost like hospital scrubs, but its head was tilted sideways, at an impossible angle, like its neck was broken, and even from that distance, I could see its mouth was wide open, like it was screaming silently. But the humming was coming from him. It wasn't mechanical, it was human. The humming was his voice. He took 1 step forward, toward the station. I didn't wait for another. I ran to the office, slammed the door shut, and pushed the filing cabinet in front of it. I sat there in the dark, terrified, for what felt like hours. Eventually, the humming stopped. The power came back on. The lights flickered to life. When I finally found the courage to come out, the figure was gone. Just the empty parking lot, as if nothing had happened. The next day, I told my manager everything. She didn't laugh. She didn't act surprised. She just got really quiet, then told me the same thing had happened to the night guy before me, right down to the time. 2:44. He quit without notice. It lasted another 2 weeks before the humming came back. That time, it was louder, closer. I walked out mid-shift, and never returned. Now I don't go near woods after dark, and every time my phone glitches at 2:44 in the morning, I wonder if he's found me again. Our final account comes from a night janitor at a corporate office building downtown. A seemingly innocent game, shared by an executive, led to an encounter that defies explanation, and left behind evidence that raises disturbing questions. I worked as a night janitor at this fancy corporate office building downtown. 50 floors of glass and steel. During the day, it was all suits and meetings. At night, it was just me, my cart, and miles of empty hallways. I'd been there about a year, when one of the executives, guy who worked late a lot, told me about something called the elevator game. Said it was this thing from Japan, or Korea. You press elevator buttons in a specific sequence, and supposedly, you can travel to a different dimension, or something. The sequence was 2, 4, 6, 2, 10, 5, 1. I didn't believe in that supernatural crap, but one night, around 1:30 a.m., I was bored. The building was empty, so I thought, why not try it? What's the worst that could happen? I got in the main elevator, and pressed the buttons in order. 2, 4, 6, 2, 10, 5, 1. At first nothing happened. The elevator moved normally, stopping at each floor as expected. I felt stupid for even trying it. But then, something changed. The elevator stopped at the 5th floor, and the doors opened. The 5th floor should have been brightly lit. The law firm on that floor always left their lights on, 24/7. But when the doors opened, it was pitch black. Not just dim, completely dark. I couldn't see anything beyond the elevator doors. This wasn't normal. Something was wrong. I reached for the door close button, but before I could press it, something stepped into the elevator. From the darkness, something tall, with long hair covering its face, barefoot. It didn't look at me, didn't acknowledge me at all. It just stepped in, and stood facing the corner. I hit every floor button in panic, but the elevator didn't move. The thing in the corner just stood there, its back to me, not moving, not breathing that I could tell. Then it whispered something, so quiet, I almost didn't hear it. Wrong floor. The lights flickered. I closed my eyes, terrified. When I opened them again, I was alone. The elevator was back in the lobby. My cleaning cart was still where I'd left it, but when I checked my phone, it was 3:30 a.m. 2 hours had passed that I couldn't account for. The next day, I checked the security footage. The cameras showed me entering the elevator at 1:30 a.m. They never showed me leaving it. According to the footage, I simply disappeared for 2 hours. I quit that week. I don't know what happened in that elevator, or on that 5th floor. I don't know where I went for those 2 hours, but I know what I saw, and I know that sometimes games aren't just games. 3 accounts, 3 individuals who experienced something beyond explanation during the quiet hours, when most of the world sleeps. A security guard who saw something impossible on a monitor. A gas station attendant who received a warning from someone or something not quite human. A janitor who played a game and briefly stepped somewhere else. What connects these stories? Perhaps it's the vulnerability of being alone in the dark. Perhaps it's that thin veil I mentioned, the one that separates our world from whatever lies beyond. A veil that, during those quiet hours of the night shift, sometimes tears just enough for something to slip through. The next time you find yourself working late, and you hear an unexpected sound, a knock, a hum, a whisper, remember these accounts, and remember that sometimes security cameras capture things they weren't supposed to, before the footage mysteriously disappears. If you enjoyed these true accounts, make sure to like this video, and subscribe to my channel for more real encounters with the unexplained. Leave a comment below sharing your own night shift experiences. I read every single one. Until next time, sleep well, if you can.